The Thinker. Welcome to Dante's Gates of Hell. What's poppin', people? It's Dante here along the Benjamin Franklin Parkway, the Rodin Museum. We have The Thinker. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the beautiful sculptures all around Philadelphia. Might as well make a photograph. And yeah, I think of this notion of following what is beautiful, following the beautiful, perhaps following the light will lead you to the beautiful. You know, where I like this notion of following the light and crushing the shadows. And so I enjoy surrounding myself with beautiful things. I enjoy the beautiful sculptures that are all around me in Philadelphia. I enjoy our beautiful architecture, our natural spaces. You know, there's something about these places that is so easily accessible, right? To just surround yourself with beauty. And perhaps photography being this incredibly accessible medium now where basically everyone has a camera, that gives every single human being on the planet this equal opportunity to share what they deem to be beautiful, right? So maybe going forward, photographing what you deem to be beautiful should be the goal. And I find beauty in the decay. I find beauty in the wear and tear and the moments that are maybe overlooked, you know, where I can find beauty in these natural spaces just as much as I can find beauty in the chaos. I can find beauty in the unknown, within the darkness. But with the power of the light and photography, I can then uplift and transcend these things and create something new. You know, abstracting the world and creating something from my unique perspective. I believe you can then share and shed light on these things that perhaps others may deem to be ugly, you know, but your idea of beauty is subjective. That's what I'm starting to realize, where I can ask people on the street and, you know, poll people like I was last week. I was curious, you know, I was asking some workers on the street, you know, do you deem to be the Comcast Tower more beautiful than City Hall? You know, which building do you prefer? You know, and a lot of people prefer that big glass looming structure right there. And I believe it's the impressive nature of it being so tall, you know, the grandeur of its height. However, I deem to, you know, City Hall filled with all of its detail to be more beautiful. I love looking at the columns and the sculptures where I can get lost in the tunnels and the detail every single day. And yeah, maybe for me, when I look at the Comcast Tower, I can kind of just glance at it and I understand it, you know, but there's something to be said about the story that City Hall tells, you know, being the largest municipal building in the country. It's got a story. And so when I consider story, maybe stories, you know, this is what shapes our reality. You know, how are stories shared? You know, traditionally through language, through speech, through speaking. But now with the power of photography, we have the ability to transcend language, where we create a universal language through images. Thinking of the first cave paintings found and the depiction of oxen, you know, perhaps oxen being the most important animal on this planet, you know, providing us with meat, providing us with energy, providing us with food to consume. Maybe since the dawn of time, we've deemed oxen to be most high, you know, just thinking of the cave drawings, thinking of Zeus and ancient Greece and the sacrifice of thousands of oxen in the hecatombs. You know, when you read the Iliad, when you read the Odyssey, you recognize the importance of these animals, whether they're used for sacrifice and feasts or consumed via ShopRite here in the grocery stores. You know, there is something about language. There's something about the way that we can share and to treat photography as a way to share your world, your story. Maybe it is this subjective thing, but I believe that by following the light, you can depict the world with its objective truth. And when I think of stories, I'm reminded of the Western civilization that we currently inhabit, you know, being founded upon Christianity, considering the Bible, considering the stories shared upon the Bible. Maybe that's the text that formed all next texts. You know, without the Bible, without the language written in this book, there would be no other authors afterwards, right? The words and the stories within the Bible shaped our perception of reality as we know it. And so maybe the photographs that we create, being this new reality, you know, maybe when we're photographing, we're not depicting reality for what it is, but we're merely depicting what it should be. You know, where I'm photographing what I deem to be beautiful. I'm excluding from the frame what I deem to be unimportant and highlighting what is important, and sharing my perspective through each step I take, through each press of the shutter I make, through the everyday mundane experiences that I have, no matter where I am. And when I observe this world, it becomes this endless canvas. And the problem with a lot of the different languages that you can choose to use, where I see photography as this visual language, considering drawing, considering painting and sculpture and all these different art forms, it lacks that ability to go out into the world where you must be constrained to the four corners of the canvas, where my canvas is endless, you know, where I can live until I'm 120 years old and I will not see everything on this earth. I will not visit every location. I will not do every single thing that is possible. And so with that mindset, that abundant mindset, the mundane street corners become a stage. You know, the mundane life around me, you know, becomes this interesting drama that unfolds, this story to share, this story to create. And, you know, maybe William Shakespeare was onto something, you know, looking at this sculpture here, the Free Library of Philadelphia, standing behind it, very beautiful building. All the world's a stage and all the men and women are merely players. Shakespeare, you know, maybe Shakespeare and his thought here about the world, you know, we can draw upon as inspiration for our photography, you know, and especially with street photography, where the people upon the street, you know, dancing with their 2 feet on the concrete, you know, they're almost like these actors that are played within the show, and you are there as not only an actor, but an active participant. You know, you are the bystander and the active participant in the story, you know, where you are now engaging with life at its fullest by embracing the fleeting moments and stopping that piece of time forever. The story that you share will outlive you, and that idea of the world being a stage being so powerful. I mean, really, when you consider the world this way and you consider photography, I mean, what better way to express this notion of the story than the story of the street, you know, where the street and the beat of the street, where you're on the concrete and you're moving your physical body and you're engaged with the world and all of the senses. You know, you depict not only reality, but an abstraction thereof it, creating anew, giving your perspective, your story, meaning. You know, where each and every click of the shutter is me affirming life. Each and every click of the shutter is me giving life a deeper meaning and a deeper understanding of what is around me. You know, where I'm merely curious about this world, and perhaps through that curiosity, we can transcend language and create our own story.